more than 1,000 federal employees with NOAA have been let go since late February, and more cuts have been signaled by the Trump administration. Joining me now to talk more about this topic and what it could mean for hurricane forecasting and, frankly, public safety is Houston Chronicle meteorologist Justin Ballard. So, Justin, you actually sat down recently with a researcher who was among the first round of cuts a few weeks ago. What role did this person have?
That's right. Yeah, Andy Hazelton was a researcher. He was part of the Environmental Modeling Center, and he actually worked with the hurricane analysis and forecast system. So very important stuff focused on improving forecast accuracy for hurricanes.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, that's one of the primary things that we would like, especially living here in Southeast Texas. Preliminary findings from the National Hurricane Center actually show they produce really accurate forecast tracks at every forecast interval last year, which is incredible.
Yeah, record forecast accuracy, throughout the entire hurricane season. That's a feat to be certainly accomplished. So I learned during this conversation with him that NOAA estimates for every major hurricane that has struck the United States since 2007, roughly $5 billion have been saved by those forecasts improvements over the last, 15 plus years or so from NOAA.
Yeah, I mean, just from all the research they've been doing. So it's crazy. There's so many agencies that fall, of course, under the umbrella of NOAA. So how much does it cost to actually fund the agency for a year?
Believe it or not, it only costs about $20 per person. That's hardly, that's basically lunch going out, right? The proposed NOAA budget for 2025, $6.6 billion. Of course, when you're looking at that number, you're like, that's a lot. I've got more, I don't have that much in my account. U.S. population, though, approximately 341 million. That costs about $19.32 per person just to fund NOAA for a year.
And I mean, when you think about it, all the different things that go into it, obviously, yes, the hurricane, the updating the forecast, but also just public safety in general. Right. And, it's also well known that NOAA is one of the leaner agencies in the federal government. And in some instances, it could even be short-staffed.
That's absolutely right. Andy says that additional cuts are certainly possible and could make that staffing problem even worse.
So what kind of going forward, if there are especially or more cuts, and it sounds like there could be, what's kind of your biggest concern going forward?
Well, I think a lot of these places, a lot of the Weather Service and a lot of, organizations are already kind of understaffed on the federal side. So, there's already people that are stretched thin, are going to be stretched even more thin. There's not going to be, the data that gets collected may be degraded. The modeling may not improve as fast. So where the forecast, improvement may start to slip or even reverse. So, I know people are going to work hard to try to make sure that doesn't happen, but it's going to be harder to maintain that level of forecast skill that people will become accustomed to and that, people really base their lives around. And, that could be dangerous as we head into hurricane season.
Yeah, and obviously, as prone to hurricanes as we are along the upper Texas Gulf Coast, the last thing we want to see are those hurricane forecasts getting less accurate. Now, while the stereotype exists that meteorologists only get the forecast right 50% of the time, which I was told, this weekend, how fun is it? No, it's actually not true.
It really isn't. Forecast accuracy has improved. I was actually speaking with Andy about this, and he said a 5-day forecast, 30 years ago would have been the kind of equivalent of our 1-day forecasts as in terms of accuracy, or I think I've got that flipped around. A 1-day forecast 20 or 30 years ago are about the same as our 5-day forecast accuracy is now. So, forecast accuracy is really important. Those skeptics are free to think, of course, however they like. But at the end of the day, a lot of our forecasts, what we're showing on TV, even what you see on your phone, come or are at least underpinned by information from NOAA.
That's very true. Yeah, so many different ways that we get this, and not even just that, the tools that we use as well. A lot of those tools come from NOAA as well. So what options are there for people who are worried about NOAA cuts affecting their safety in the hurricane season to come?
Andy has a pretty clear message about what could come after this.
What I've been encouraging people to do is reach out to your representatives and tell them how much, you appreciate what NOAA and the Weather Service does and how important that is to you. Just keep doing it, keep hammering that message. We're trying to kind of do the same thing and, just talk about the fact that we want, we really, our mission is to protect the public, and that's what we want to be able to do. And so, for people for whom that's important, definitely, help us hammer home that message.
And I really want to emphasize what he said, protecting life and property. That is literally pulled directly. I had to make sure, just to make sure, but that is literally pulled from the National Weather Service's mission statement.
I know, and so yeah, it's vital we don't lose that information, of course. And we've been
Really
talking
is.
to a lot of people who have, since retired from the National Weather Service, and that's something they said they were so passionate about. They're here to help the public and keep everybody safe.
And we know, as well as anyone in meteorology, you're not getting paid millions of dollars, right, doing this research. This research is vital, and it has to continue.
Yeah, I mean, especially now during severe weather season and then hurricane season, which starts in 81 days.
Less than 3 months.
Oh, no.
I've got heartburn just thinking about it.
I know, we're like, nope, not there yet. But thank you so much, Justin, for bringing to point, such an important topic. And, there's so many people that don't think they could be, impacted by this, but who?
But
could be the
they
outcomes.
really will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.